to Just Crafting Around. Hello, my name is Kelly and I am your hostess for the Just Crafting Around show. Today what we're going to do is we are going to work with wine bottles. And what I did to save us some time is I went through Pinterest to look to see what I could find, and the snowman was the one that we came up with, and a Santa Claus is what I've come up with. What you're going to need is, to save time and such like that, I went and purchased some spray paint. What I have here is the Rust-Oleum Painter's Touch, and it is a paint and primer, and I used the gloss. I wanted red for the Santa suit, and I wanted the white for the snowman. So I did use the gloss paint. I went to the local hardware store to pick these up. What also I purchased some of these here, things that are going to go into the inside here to give it a little bit more added color. I picked those up at Hobby Lobby. You're going to need some sponge brushes, which we have here. Going to need some painter's tape, which I took some painter's tape. This was a green bottle, spray painted it, put the painter's tape around here because I want to paint this black. We have some acrylic paint, some black paint. We're going to use the tape here so that I don't make a big mess on here. What I did here for the snowman's nose is I went and purchased some corks, different size corks. What I did then was I painted it orange and then I hot glued it on there. I used the stamplers is what I used here, and to make the eyes a little bit smaller, and then for the cheeks I wanted the light pink. I used the next size stampler to put that on there. What we are going to do today is, like I said, we are going to do a Santa Claus. So to save time, I've already spray painted it. What I'm going to do is, of course, we need our wax paper, hot glue gun, a scissors. I'm going to also take and use some twine. And what I found was a bell that had already a Santa Claus on there, and I'm going to take that and I'm going to put it around here like I did that to give it a little bit of color. You can also take, if you have any kind of material, Christmas material, you can take that and you can tie it in a bow up here, or there are so many things that you can do. And as always, don't forget the coffee. Okay, let's get started. My next step that I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of this scrub tape. You can use masking tape. This is just another name for the masking tape. And I'm going to mask it around the red. Take some pieces and do this at a time. Go around the red so that I don't get the black all over the red. Down, and then go around it in the bottom where you're going to be and seal it pretty tight. I'm going to continue this until we have it done. Then we're going to paint it, and then we are going to let it set and let it dry. Once it has completely dried, we may have to give it more than one coat. We will see how that turns out. I've also, for the Santa suit, instead of painting on, what we're going to do is we are going to use some buttons, and we're going to do the buttons and make it look like it is his suit. So we're going to hot glue some buttons on. Again, easy project, just time consuming. I'm sure you can go to your local bar and ask them to save you some bottles. Wash them out really good. Once you've washed out the bottles really good, turn them upside down, let them dry out on the inside. Then what you can do is you need to take the labels off. So let them soak in hot water. The bottles that I got from here were from Karina Flemmer. She had some left over from her wedding, so thank you, Karina. They were already washed out with the labels off. didn't get that one as nice as I wanted it, so that's what's nice about using the masking tape, because the masking tape won't take off the paint that you've painted it on.
Service on line 1, service.
Also, when we are done with these, when we're done with the projects, and we've completely finished them, we are going to take the clear acrylic gloss coating and we're going to spray them. Make sure that you're spraying this stuff in a ventilated area. Very good ventilated area, because the fumes are pretty tough to take. So make sure you're doing it in a ventilated area. Once you've done that in a ventilated area, let it dry. And why we're going to use the acrylic gloss coating is so that when this bumps against something, you don't chip the paint off of it, because that will happen. We don't want that to happen. There we go. Okay, now that I think I've got the sides and the bottom here sealed off pretty good, what I'm going to do is, when I paint this, I'm going to paint this way, and then I'm going to paint this way. And the reason I'm doing that is so that when I paint across like this, the paint, I will blend it once I'm done, but once I paint like this here, it's better because it won't run. It won't run underneath the tape then. I found that whenever you do something like this, actually go up to the tape, about halfway up or so, and paint this way. Then start here and paint this way. That way it will not soak underneath your tape. Okay, we're going to shake our black acrylic paint.
Introducing our device installment program. Extra savings and extra flexibility. Call Valley today for all the details at 437-2615.
So I have my wax paper here. Take some black paint. I'm just going to put it on the wax paper. I know I'm going to need more than that. Take my small sponge brush that I'm going to use here. And like I said, I'm going to start up here and I'm going to go down like this. And then I'm going to come from the bottom up. And I can definitely tell this is going to need more than just the one coat. Even though it's black, it's going to need more than one coat. I always put the brushes in my mouth too to hold them down. There are really some cute ideas that people have. I'm a Pinterest hog. I really like to look at the Pinterest stuff. Then I sit and wonder if I can really truly make it. A lot of times I like things, but I like to try to make them instead of buy them. Reason being, I like for a lot of the stuff to match in my house, for the colors to match up. Okay, coat 1 is done. I'm going to let this dry. It never takes long for the acrylic paint to dry, so we're going to just let that dry right now. We're going to make the deal that we're going to use around the top. Again, the sponge brushes and the paint you can find in any craft store. You can find these in your local hardware store. You can find them just about anywhere. Okay, I'm going to let that go. I'm going to measure. I'm going to see where the seams and stuff are. I want to see where I want to see where is going to be my front versus where my back is going to be. Here is going to be my front, so that's where I want to go with my Santa. I check to see where my seams are at because I want it to be in the middle of my seams. you can get some battery operated lights, and with the battery operated lights, what you can do with a specific tool, and I had my husband do this, is drill a hole in the bottom. You should actually drill the holes before you paint these. So he drilled a hole in here, and you can take the battery operated lights and you can take them and stick them in here, and it will show. It's not the best look, but it does have the shimmer and you can see the lights and stuff coming through here. I actually picked these battery operated lights up at Lowe's. You can pick them up in some of the craft stores. This here actually has a white coating. You can also get them in copper. I do have a couple of them in copper. This is the part that's kind of big, but you can hide it. You can take it, you can probably, what I've done with a couple of them is take them and wrap them in Christmas wrap. You can tell too that they've got the wire because you're able to bend them pretty good, and yet they're really small. But when you turn them on, they're pretty bright. You can also get these in colors, in the different colors if you're a colored fan. I do white normally in my house, but you could do those in colors. I have seen them in blue as well, so you could do those in blue. I'm going to take some of the twine here, and I'll see about how big, how long I want it. You can always cut the twine off if it's not what you're looking for. I want it to go up a little higher here because I just want it to hang kind of a little loosely. So I'm going to take some of this twine, take our scissors and cut it. And like I said, I found this bell, so I am going to string this through the bell. And once everything is dried and we're done, this will be the last thing that we do, but we will get that ready. Let's see if our paint has dried here. The paint feels like it's dried already. What we're going to do is we're going to give it another coat. I'm going to coat it twice, but there again, that's your preference. Totally up to you how many times you want to coat it. I think twice will be as much as we want to coat. And again, we go from top to bottom. I truly am a sloppy painter. My husband doesn't let me help when we paint in the house because I have more paint on the floor than I do on the walls. I know he thinks I'm just doing that to get out of painting, but I do hate painting. But it doesn't go fast enough for me. I'm one of those that likes to start something and finish it within a few minutes. And with a lot of crafts, you can't do that. You have to let things dry, and you have to let them dry thoroughly. It's actually why I spray painted these, because I didn't want to take the time to actually paint them. Plus, I think spray paint goes so nice and evenly. Okay. We are done with that. Now we're going to let it dry. We're going to let it dry really good. And then we're going to start putting on the buttons. I'm going to show you what we're going to have this look like. We're going to put the buttons. We're going to use 3, 4. We'll see once we get started how many we want to do. And then we are going to use these diamonds, because every girl needs bling. We're going to use the diamonds and make a, what is that called?
Belt buckle.
A buckle. We are going to make a belt buckle out of the rhinestones. because we do need some bling. Okay, Lisa, now I think we have to wait.
Pick your promo, sign up for high-speed internet, and get an iPad mini for only $60, plus get $60 in Valley Bucks. Or sign up for HD DVR from Valley Video and get $60 in Valley Bucks. Take advantage of these great promotions in honor of Valley being around for the last 60 years. Call 437-2615 today.
Valley Telecommunications, the home team advantage.
Now that our bottle has dried, we are going to peel off the masking tape. Or as this stuff is called, it's called frog tape. Peel it off and see how much of a straight line we've gotten. If we don't have a straight line, we're just going to kind of make one. We'll use our fingernails to try to take back some of the paint. And it actually turned out pretty good. Pulling back until we have it all off. Might be a few little touch-up spots that we need to get, but it shouldn't be many. Here, I found one, so I'm just going to take my fingernail, rough it up a little bit, and there you have it. You can also, if you see that you've missed a few places, you can also go along with your brush and brush it in. Let's see, find my front again, which we will be using this. I'm looking for the middle. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay it down, and I'm going to decide where I want to put my buttons. I'm going to lay my buttons out, and I'm also going to decide where I want to start the bling. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make a buckle with the bling that we have here. And then I'm going to see if we want to use 3 buttons, if we want to use 4 buttons. Not quite sure how many of those we're going to need, but we'll just amp them right in the middle. And then we'll use the glue gun to put those on there. Okay. Got in my middle. I'm going to kind of look at my template a little bit. They used actually 4 going across, so I'm going to measure and take my pencil and get from the top to the bottom so that I make sure I'm the same place here on all the sides, and I'm just going to put a little line because that is where I'm going to be starting. And you can go up or down as far as you want. That is not an issue, but that's going to be my middle point. And I will come down as far as this. You can go down as far as you want. You can go up as far as you want. You can also erase those spots, but I need a starting point of how far out I want to go and then come down to this point down here. So I'm looking in the middle. It looked like they did so many of these. They did 4 across, so that's what I'm going to do. These things are not so easy to handle. But again, it doesn't all have to be precise. I'm just eyeballing everything. These will be easy to take off as well if you miss a spot or you do something like that. The smaller your beads are like this, the harder they are to handle. If you want to use larger ones, you can. If you don't like bling, you know what you could use? You could use the pearl kind that are flat in the back that stick. If that's how you want to roll. I'm a mixture of bling and pearl. I like it both. Okay, so now I'm just going to keep coming down with it. Until I get to exactly where I want to be. Like I said, these little buggers are going to stick to your fingers and all over. And you don't have to get them exactly far apart. It is however you want it to be. That's the beauty of doing your own arts and crafts. You can do whatever you want to do. Whatever makes you happy. You could use matte satin paint. You wouldn't have to use the gloss if you like the satin paint better. If you like the satin paint, you can rough it up a little bit and make it look more distressed, which is kind of my world. I like the distressed look. That would work as well. So many things you can do nowadays. www.pinterest.com. It's always got ideas. And they've got a lot of ideas. They've got more ideas than just crafting. If you are into baking and you love baking and cooking, they've really got some good recipes on there. Some of them I have made, some of them have turned out, some of them haven't turned out, or at least turned out to my liking. So they have all kinds of different things. Trying to get these all nicely in a row. What I'm going to do is I see my mark here that I made with my pencil, so I know I have to come that far. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put one there, and then I'm going to move upward on here so that I know how many I need yet and how far apart to put them. Not that I come to the bottom and then I'm out of space and I can't get that one to go in there. I don't want it to look too kitty wonkus. I like bling. Not a lot of bling, but a little bit of bling. And again, kind of eyeball them. If you're really worried about it, you can always use a ruler. I find I can eyeball better than using a ruler a lot of times. But that isn't so with a lot of people. There we go. And this way too, when you go this way, so far, this is how far I am with it, you can tell if you want to make it a little thicker. We may make this one a little bit thicker so that it's wider, or you can make it narrow and make it longer. We'll see when we get there what we like. Keep in mind that Santa does have a belly. So his belt buckle should be a little bit thicker, maybe. Go up on this a little bit. You can kind of stand it up and see how it looks. We are just going to leave the 4. We didn't space them out very far. And like I said, these are pretty agile. You can actually take them and move them if you want to move them a little bit. And then when you're ready to set them, you can press them down harder. And that's what we're going to do. I'm going to try to come across so that they're right across from each other and yet lined up with each other. Like I said, you may have to play with it a little bit. Sometimes you get to be all fingers in a situation like this. Sometimes it would be nice to have an extra hand to help. So if your husband or your kids are around, now if you're going to drill a hole in the back of this to put the lights in like we talked earlier, you are going to need just not a regular drill bit, but you are going to need a drill bit that actually drills through glass. When my husband Lauren drilled the hole for us in the snowman, I had a squirt bottle and I was squirting water while he was actually doing the drilling, because you need to keep it somewhat moist on there. So we just keep coming down. We are almost done with that. And then we will take a look at it and see. If we need to move a couple of them, we may need to shift one or two of them over just a little bit to make it more even. Easy enough to do, just move. Shift them over. Like I said, pretty easy because I don't have them, I didn't press them down hard enough to make them stick very hard. Sometimes you can just squeeze them over as well. There we go. And there is Santa's bling buckle. Now from here, we are going to put the buttons on. I think we're only going to use 3 buttons. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to start right here, and then I'm going to put one up here, and then we'll decide where we want it here. I'm going to put it right here in the middle. I'm going to put it right up above here. And I'm just going to put a little mark there. And that is where we'll put our first one. That if you do make a mistake, you can just gently erase it. I'm not going to put it up quite that high. Put one there. And then once we've got that one glued on, then we will go from number 2. Okay, I'm really not in love with hot glue because I burn myself every time I try it. And now with using buttons, the hot glue comes through the holes. You could, instead of using buttons, if you didn't have any black buttons and you wanted to make it black, what you could do is you could use paint, and you could paint it black. And another thing with hot glue, you have to, when it's set, it's set. And you cannot move it. You've got just a matter of a few minutes in order to move it, and then you're done. Doesn't give you much time. I try to clean it up when it's warm. The string. So here we have our first button, and now I'm just going to kind of go up from there. To see where we want to put it. We're only going to use 3 of them this time instead of the 4 that I previously thought. Yowie. number 3. Also, if you wanted to, around the rim, you could either take some material, you could take, if you wanted to, some cotton balls and put some cotton around here, hot glue cotton ball on. Many things that you could do, Christmas material, red and white material, whatever you want to do. We're going to do something just a little different with ours. We want it to look somewhat like this right here, using the twine. Okay, one more we've got to go. One more time, I'll get to burn my finger, and then we're calling that done. And again, I didn't measure. I just kind of eyeballed it. Looking at it, it's good to go for me. This is something very easy to do. Again, a little time consuming, but not even really that much. More so just waiting for the paint to dry. If you've never spray painted before, you spray, I sprayed these 4 times, I believe. What I did was you go in little spurts. Don't get up very close to it. Spray about so far away, and then spray light coats. Because if you do too much and you get too much on there, it's going to run, and then you're really going to end up with problems. Let it dry thoroughly before you coat it the second time, the third time, and then take a look at it. If you think that you need to, that you want it a darker, if you want more of a coating on it, go for another coat. It all depends. Now for this, like I said before, I used the gloss and I used apple red. So now, there's our Santa Claus, and we're ready for the ribbon. And what I did was I found a little Santa Claus bell. I tied it to this ribbon, and now I'm going to take it and put it on here just to give it a little bit more, adding something else to it. You can put anything on here you want, or you don't need anything at all. Kind of want to let it dangle. Either untie the back. I'm going to tie it somewhat tight, but I want it to hang a little low. So what I'm going to do is put it over here more in the middle. And this thing isn't going to lay flat. It's not going to lay up against the bottle. If you want it to lay up against the bottle, you can take the hot glue gun and hot glue it, but I'm not going to have it do it. I just want it kind of dangling. If you want to put it off to the side, you can put it off to the side. The side looks just as good. And then we're going to tie it in the back. And I am not going to cut any of this off because I'm going to let some hang just like we did with that. There's a nice little lip right here to which we can do that. And we'll give it one more twist. And then we're going to move this over. We might cut just a little bit of that off. We're going to let the bell hang. To the side like that, and now we're going to put in our wood things that we have. These are kind of the different colors of red. It's more like a burgundy and the other red. I really like these. I found these later where it actually had the green in there as well as the red. You could use 2 of those. I like to use different, like the different colors over here. I thought it really brightened stuff up for Christmas. And just kind of take them and bend them to however you want them. Doesn't have to be anything fancy or, again, your liking, your taste. You can do whatever you want with this. You don't have to put anything in here at all if you don't want to. All about your taste and what you like. Do what you like and what makes you happy. I'm surprised actually of how many times I will start something and I'll stand back and take a look at it and I'll actually start it all over again because I didn't like it. Stick this one in the front so this one shows off as well a little bit more. And again, if I'd want to, could put a hole in here in the back. And here is our Santa wine bottle.
Valley Telecommunications, the home team advantage.
Come back and join us for our next episode of Just Crafting Around. We are going to be using some old bed springs and we are going to be making Christmas trees out of those. So come back and see us again. Thank you.